The Speaking Statements, the podcast of statements about the 50 U.S. states. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for alerts for when a new episode is released.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to the intro of Season 5 for the Speaking Statements. We have a guest here to talk about North Carolina. I want to introduce my Uncle Brian to talk about North Carolina today. Hey, Uncle Brian.
Hey, Julian. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm really excited.
I'm sure my first question is, what do North Carolina and South Carolina have in common?
So North Carolina and South Carolina have a lot of the same culture. They're both parts of the South and the Southeast. They eat a lot of the same foods. They both like a lot of the same activities, and the weather's very similar between the two. If you like one, chances are you're going to like the other.
I didn't know that they had that so much in common. My second question is, what kind of foods are popular in North Carolina?
So the most popular food in North Carolina is barbecue. There's a bunch of different types of barbecue all over the country, and North Carolina has two different types of barbecue. Kind of depends on what sauce you're using as to what type of barbecue it classes as, but both are delicious. So it's a lot of pork, and then frequently that's served with things like hush puppies or mac and cheese or slaw or other things like that. But the barbecue is absolutely the food that North Carolina is best known for.
What's a hush puppy?
So a hush puppy is like a little piece of fried cornbread. And the rumor is that back in the day, when the kitchen was in a different building from the dining room, that whoever had cooked the food would give the hush puppies these little pieces of fried cornbread to the dogs to keep them from bothering them while they were taking the rest of the food from the kitchen over to wherever they were going to eat.
So that's why they're called hush puppies.
That's exactly right.
My third question is, do you know any slightly odd things about North Carolina?
I think odd thing about North Carolina is, in my eyes, a good thing, and it's that it has a little bit of everything. You know, a lot of states may have some nice beaches or like a coast, and some places may have mountains, but North Carolina is a very long and wide state, so it's really varied. You have a little bit of everything that you could want. So where Aunt Catherine and I live, we're only about 3 hours from the mountains, and we go up there in the weekends. But then if it's nice in the summer, we can go out to the beaches. We're only about 2 hours from there. And in the middle, you've got this beautiful area with great weather all year around.
Oh, yeah. So the weekend would be more on the day afterward.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So this weekend we're going out of town, but we're getting out of the state. But frequently we'd go up to like a place called Asheville, which is a really nice town up in the mountains.
My fourth question is, what activities are popular in North Carolina?
So North Carolina does a lot of sports and a lot of college sports specifically. There's really good schools here. There's Duke, there's UNC, there's NC State, and there's Wake Forest. And so people get really into watching those sports teams play, and people here play a lot of sports. Basketball in particular is really popular. Because the weather is so nice most of the year, people also like to do fishing and hiking, visiting the beaches, visiting the mountains like we were talking about a minute ago.
Good. My fifth question is, can you tell me about the beaches in North Carolina?
So that's an interesting thing. So there are kind of two sets of beaches in North Carolina. There's beaches near some of the bigger towns like Wilmington, which have like big piers and are big tourist places. But if you go out even further to the coast, there's this set of barrier islands called the Outer Banks. And those are these really sandy, flat beaches, which are really, really pretty. One of the most famous things there is there's a place called Kitty Hawk on the Outer Banks. That's where the Wright brothers flew for the first time, and that's why North Carolina calls itself the state that's first in flight.
Yeah, I do know a bit about the Kitty Hawk and one of my state bugs. My sixth question is, and also last question, if someone new came to North Carolina, what would you recommend?
I would recommend that they see and do as much of the different things that there are to do in the state as possible. So to try and see some of the beaches, to try and see some of the mountains, to see some of these beautiful college campuses that we talked about, to see some of these sporting events. I just think that there's so much to do and see here that I would tell someone that they really can't go wrong with it. And I hope that sooner or later we get you and your brother and the rest of your family down here to visit so we can show you all the special things about North Carolina.
Yeah, it'll give me a new state that I've been to.
Exactly.
Well, I'm done about North Carolina. We are glad to have you here to talk about it.
Outstanding. Those were excellent questions, Julie, and I appreciate you thinking of me and letting me do this. This has been just something I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Well, bye.
Bye.
The order.
And now we'll do our notes. It borders 3 states so far: Virginia, South Carolina, and Tennessee. It also borders the Atlantic Ocean. It was actually part of the 13 colonies. It was the 12th state. The abbreviation is NC. The capital is Raleigh. And the largest city is Charlotte. Common mammals include black bears, coyotes, and raccoons. Reptiles include sea turtles. Amphibians include salamanders. Birds include ospreys and cardinals. In the early 1700s, the pirate Blackbeard, you might have heard of him, he lived in North Carolina and attacked ships off the coast. Richard Petty, a race car driver, is a famous person born in North Carolina. And now we'll do the fast facts with Leo. Give it a go, Leo. What is the state key? It's the pine. What is the state flower? It's the flowering dogwood. What is the state bird? It's the cardinal. What is the state mammal? It would be the gray squirrel. What is the state insect? That would be the honeybee. What is the state dog? Probably the bloodhound. What is the state beverage? It's milk, as usual. What is the state vegetable? It's the sweet potato. I love it. And what is the state fruit? This is going to be a funny name. It's the Scuppernong grape. Wait, is Scuppernong a word? Scuppernong. Oh. Yep. What is the state berry? There's actually 2. It's either blueberries or strawberries. What is the state dance? It's the Carolina Shack. Well, thanks for doing the fast facts, Leo. You're welcome to doing it. And I love to be on your podcast. Better than any podcast in the world. Bye. Bye. And last but not least, we have the North Carolina corridor, which is a person next to an old airplane, which is also the first plane to fly. In the words first flight. That's all for today. But check in next week for a second intro of Season 5. Bye!
Thank you for listening to the Speaking Statements.